Oh, you guys are going to be the best, I can tell already. Let's bring them out, one at a time. Give it up for Zack, Callison. Oh, look at you, already in line. You make this work. I like it, you guys. So guess what? You get to start with the first question. Take it away.
For Zack, yeah, okay, I forgot your name, sorry.
All good. You can call me Steven if you want, I answered that.
Would you be willing to do at least a little bit of giant woman?
Just a little bit, because I can't remember all of it, which is really bad.
I can only giant woman.
Cool.
All I wanna do is see you turn into a giant woman, a giant woman.
Let's go over here. Go ahead.
If Steven fused with the gems, what do you think they would look like, Zack?
Really, really cool. I have my fingers crossed to see that one day. I would love that.
That's very cute. Go ahead.
Hi. I have heard and enjoyed all of your work, and this is a question for all of you. I'm an aspiring actor, so I was wondering what class you might have taken, or what talent you might have, or even one particular choice in your life that you made, just that you feel most contributed to your success.
That's a great question. That's a great question. Each one of you, please.
Well, I would say that one of my favorite acting coaches, acting teachers said, if there's anything you can do other than be an actor, do that. Because being an actor or anyone who is a freelancer or in the arts in any way, it's a really difficult life. You never know if you're going to be working. So you have to really love what you do. So I would say that's the biggest piece of advice I could give you.
Yeah, and I would say listen to Veronica. It's absolutely true. I've been acting since I was 15. Sometimes I made money, sometimes I didn't. I like to joke that I started making a living acting as soon as I quit insisting my whole body be involved. But yeah, it's true. I mean, the reason to do it is because you love it. And if you love it, it will sustain you. If you want to do it for fame or fortune, good luck with that.
As far as voice acting goes, Tom Kenny said the best piece of advice to me was one record when I was feeling a little down and out because I worked with these crazy talented voice actors and I just didn't feel like I was on the level. And he said, just be weirder, 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 weirder. He's like, you can always dial it down, but you have to crank it up, and then that's where the magic happens.
That was a great question.
Thank you.
Go ahead. You know what? I had to disappear backstage for a quick second, so I missed that. I'm so sorry. Go ahead. It's all you.
Going off of what Veronica said, you absolutely have to love what you do, and I subscribe to the theory that you have to be a little bit crazy to want to do this because it's not easy, it's difficult, and the stuff that comes out of your mouth behind the mic, I mean, it's a little bit mad sometimes. So just don't be afraid to be a little bit crazy, and that will take you a very long way.
Thank you.
I want to know, because since you answered the question last, I remember you talking about how when you're voicing, your whole body is in this. What people see is the animation and the final product that comes out in your voice. Do all of you guys do that? Is that like industries? Is it a room full of people flailing about while they? I mean, that's got to be a great set to work on.
We're all actors, so you are acting, and it's hard to just be a big character with just a little bit coming out of your mouth. So it's full body, full breathing. It's just that all you know is the sound that comes out. But it's produced from your whole body.
Yeah, I don't think we really draw a distinction between voice acting and acting. We're acting in front of a mic.
Our sound guy, Robert, gets so mad because I'm always jingling. like fashion over function all the time. And I always come in with like bracelets on or a necklace, and he's like, you're being mic'd every day you come into work. Why do you wear this stuff? I'm like, because it's cute. And then I just have So you definitely use every punch you hear is like.
I have a story kind of related to that actually. The very first record we had for after Steven got picked up, it was the Gemlo. No, Laser Light Cannon was the episode we were recording. And I came in and I wanted to look nice and dress to impress, so I had this nice brown button-up shirt on. The problem was, as soon as I started doing the whole flailing thing in front of the mic, it was like, I mean, you hear that, it's the same thing, but the mic's super sensitive and I'm flailing about and making all this noise. So basically, Robert told me that I couldn't make that noise anymore, and I had to fix it. Basically, the whole record, putting my wings out like a bird, and I did all the lines like that, and I still had to move, so I looked like I was flapping the whole time. And that was my first impression of Steven Universe.
So I was just joking. You know, I'm on live TV every day. You'd think I'd have it figured out. The reason why I went back, I came out with the bracelet on this arm, and I put my mic down and I went, okay, I'll be right back. And I didn't want you guys to see me. I was like, so I told him, that's actually funny you would talk about fashion over form. Let's go over here to a question over here.
This is for Steven. Do you have any regrets on the show Steven Universe?
Oh man, he's getting into my psyche.
You might regret answering the question.
I wouldn't call it a regret, but one thing that I had to work around was my voice changed in the middle of the recording for the show. And there were a couple other projects that I worked on that I just couldn't do the characters anymore because I was 15 playing 8-year-olds, and my voice hadn't changed, so it sounded legitimate. But for Steven, he was more of a character, and I wasn't using my natural voice, so I was trying to figure out a way to do that. So working with the voice, I had to, because I used to go down with my voice.
When I talk at this level normally, I would talk like this and then make it sound like that, and it sounded like Steven.
But once my voice changed, if I put it down here, it sounds like man Steven, and it doesn't work anymore.
So I put it up here, and then it sounded like Steven again.
But there is a little bit of a difference, and some of the fans have messaged me on Twitter like, your voice sounds a lot different in this episode to this episode. I'm like, yeah, I know. It was something I had to work around. Puberty it came a little late for me, and it hit very hard and fast.
Luckily it came, so, you know.
I'm glad that it came and went rather than not showing up at all.
There's other work out there. So.
Let's go over here.
Hi, between Ash, Rigby, Marceline, and Steven, your characters are so different. I was just wondering if you guys had to swap shows for a day, whose character would you want to voice?
I'm gonna say Steven Universe right now because cast a girl, okay? My voice doesn't change.
You're gonna watch my back.
Would you guys switch?
I'm actually just gonna go ahead and say Ash Ketchum because I was a Pokemon fanatic growing up. And look at my shirt. And I bought this yesterday. I loved it so much. I've always loved Pokemon, and Ash was like my hero growing up. So I would definitely play Ash for a day.
Yeah, I'd like you.
I'll allow it.
I would go on Pokemon too, but I would want to play Jigglypuff because when I was a kid, I was telling somebody over at the table last, what's your favorite Pokemon? I used to terrify my parents. I'd be like,
Yeah, that's pretty creepy. I would probably take your job because you're on one of the few shows that's weirder than mine.
Thank you.
Well, hello there. My question was, do you guys have any sort of ritual you do to get into your character, into the voice acting, anything like that weird sort of thing?
I drink a gallon of blood before each She's not revealing where she gets the blood. I think definitely vocal warm-ups everybody does, which you might not do in front of other people.
Like what? Now that we're in front of a bunch of people, like what?
You want to stretch out the back of your tongue.
Let's get everyone doing it at the same time. Teach us one.
You can tuck your tongue behind
behind your bottom teeth, and then essentially your tongue is pressing forward, like this. You know?
Okay, let's do it, guys. Let's do it.
For anything like that, if you're speaking in front of people, you're doing something for school, you can do a quick warm up like that, and also, you know, all around. And that helps to warm everything up and get you going. Little tip there.
My favorite one is the that one always seems to wake me up in the morning when my voice doesn't want to wake up with me.
I have one that's also terrifying. Very good. Yeah.
These are so fun.
Cup of coffee and a cigarette. You know, I don't know what these guys are talking about. I think they just wanted to make you guys do a bunch of silly stuff. No, it's true. Like Veronica talks about, for me, it's really about the articulators. It's not that hard for me to hit Rigby, and I'm more inclined to sort of save my voice and not work out my voice per se so much before record. But I like to get the mask really warmed up so that I don't trip over, words, eat word burgers. That's bad.
So is it like tongue twisters? Is that what you're referring to when you talk about trying to hit your? It's unfamiliar to me. Like Peter Piper picked up. Like, are you doing tongue twisters to warm that up as opposed to?
Like Veronica, I'm pretty much just there's a
Bad voice actor. There was a thing that we used to do in theater where you want to prepare to not make it really wide. That's something that you can do. But I mean, specifically for the mouth, as we were saying, that's really good. Don't do it in front of people. And then warming up the tongue because you don't want to waste Robert's time in the booth.
Also, if you keep your teeth together and you go through all of your lines, you're really working on enunciation so that when you speak again, it's much more clear and your voice is forward already. So that's something that's easy to do, and it really helps you to speak.
Yeah, your April was the most articulate. I mean, it was, you hit every single syllable and consonant like crystal.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
What were you gonna say?
For some reason, every time I have a Marceline song, I have to do like Demon Marceline right before, and it completely screws up my singing voice because I have to go, I'll kill you! And you're like, okay, now sound pretty. And it's like, you realize that I just scratched my vocal cords terribly. It's terrible. And I was like, can I please do the song first? They're like, we have everybody here, so we like to do it at the end. And I'm like,
no one cares about you. That is what I mean is you have to protect yourself. That's the whole thing, that no one's thinking, oh, we should do this difficult stuff later. You have to be the one to stand up for yourself. Again, in whatever you do for your profession, you have to stand up for yourself because no one's thinking about what's good for you. They're thinking about what's good for them and the schedule. Yeah.
Great question.
Thank you, guys.
Over here.
Which of the voices that you can do is the most different from your natural speaking voice? Okay.
There's a Microsoft, I think it's an Xbox One exclusive called Evolve, and I play a support character named Hank, and I'm about as large as one of his arms, and so whereas Rigby's pretty easy to get to for me.
Hank gotta talk like this, big old fella. He looks like he'd be riding on a motorcycle kind of guy.
So that would be the answer for me.
For the new Adventure Time game, they had a sound clip of a character that they were convinced was me, but I didn't do it. And so I kept trying to tell them, I said, that's not me. They go, well, we have you listed as the person who did the voice for this. So I had to try to match this other woman who, it was just her normal, regular speaking voice, and I felt that was really hard. It's kind of easy to do a character voice, but when you're trying to match specifically somebody else's regular speaking voice, and then I told you it's not me, otherwise I'd be able to do it, and I don't think I'm going to play that character on the video game.
It's something I get auditions for actually quite a bit, to match other people's natural speaking voices. I'm not very good at it, because
it's so hard to hear it. You can match the pitch, but matching the tone is near impossible sometimes.
Right, and I try to get inside their head, like, who is this person? What do they really sound like? And
Yeah.
how are they pitching their voice? And then I try to be them. So, yeah, it's hard.
As far as character voices go, I mean, Steven is probably the furthest from my normal voice, but from Steven, I also, whenever Onion has to do his little I do that. So that's pretty different too. Whenever it talks with that. I don't get to do it very often though, because he's very quiet, which makes me sad.
I think for me, probably Ash Ketchum is a little bit different from my voice. Like Amelia on Slayers, and she doesn't really sound like me. Play Sputnik, I don't really sound like this either. On Asperblast.
I like to think that most of the characters don't sound like me, but most people who come to my table when I'm saying, hey, how are you? They go, I know that character. So I don't know, I think there's a little bit. Yeah.
Great question. Let's go over here.
Hello. So what was your favorite scene to ever record in one of your TV shows? For all of you.
We say, as an actor, I just love actually working every scene. I like having a job.
That's a tough one because I really love what I do, and it would be hard for me to pick out a scene that I didn't enjoy. I tend to like the scenes where Rigby is being really, really jerky, because that's fun. Oddly enough, one of my favorite scenes that I can pinpoint was in a video game called Mass Effect 3. Morton Soul.
Excuse me for a moment.
That was awesome. And I'll return the favor. The first time I ever saw this guy in real life, he was acting on stage. He was amazing. So for me, it was probably Warren's death scene in Mass Effect 3 was one that really stood out.
It had to be me. Someone else would have gotten it wrong. It had to be me. Someone else would have gotten it wrong.
I have two that really stick out as my favorite, at least for Adventure Time. Anytime that I record with my dad, because he actually plays Hudson Abadir, so we got to do like a fight scene where we were battling. That was really fun. It was very odd, like acting and calling my dad, but it's like acting, but it's not. And the other one was when I got to do the episode Princess Day, which is where Marceline and LSP they team up and do this kind of weird, they like kidnap Breakfast Princess, they tie her up and throw her in the back of her car. But usually when we're recording and LSP's in an episode, Penn might not necessarily be in the booth with us because he has a million things going on with the whole show, so he'll usually record his part afterwards. But that was the first time I got to do a scene or a whole episode with Penn, and seeing this man who in real life and generally is very reserved and quiet do that voice. And it's just, you'll never see anything better. He goes to miss when he does He like moves his hips and it's like he turned into a different person.
It goes back to what we were saying about acting behind the mic. You got to do that stuff to get into the characters. A couple episodes with scenes that stood out to me were Steven and Stevens is one of my favorites ever.
Oh my god, yes.
I mean, every Steven you see on screen, even in the end, there's 100 of them, I had to voice all of them. So I was working double time that day. And then the other one was 10,000 Birthdays, where I'm suddenly aging a teenager and then a super old man. And I had to do all the different voices. So I'm Steven for a second, and then my voice starts cracking, and I'm teenage Steven. And then I'm man Steven down here, and then I'm old and dying Steven. It was very impressive at times. The episode turned out to be kind of terrifying. It was fun to do.
Thank you. Let's go over here.
Okay, this question is for Zack. I really enjoy singing, and when I saw your cartoon, it was one of the first ones that I really connected with. And, sorry.
Good.
And I just wanted to know what your biggest inspiration was before you started getting into voice acting and stuff, because you're a big inspiration to me.
Thank you. You know, when I first got into voiceover, it was my very first session ever for a show called Adventures in Odyssey. A few people know it. It was a radio show. It was my first VO gig that I did, and I ended up working on it for about 5 years. But my very first session, there's a guy there named Jess Harnell. Some of you might know from Animaniacs, and literally every cartoon ever made. But that guy is the most positive, giving, amazing person I've ever met in my life. And we run into each other on different projects here and there in different sessions, and I see him all the time. And he's always like super genuinely excited to see me, and he's always giving me advice. And I mean, he's super successful. He's literally a rock star, amazing voiceover artist, and I have so much respect for him. So he's been a huge inspiration for me.
Thank you.